Good morning, class. So we're working on our Reader's Notebook today, Lesson 13, pages 187 and 188. We're going to talk about regular verbs today, and those are verbs where we just add D or ED to the end to make them past tense. And we're also going to talk about irregular verbs, and that's where the word changes. You don't say that I goed to my friend's house. So the verb go, if you make it past tense, it's not goed, it is went. And so that's an irregular verb where you don't add ed or d to the end of a word. You have to change the word. So those are irregular verbs. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Most verbs are regular verbs. They form their past tense by adding ed or d to the end of the word. A regular verb also adds ed when it is used with the helping verbs has, have, or had. Walk, walked, or have walked. Live, lived, has lived. So when you add in that helping verb. If a verb ends in a vowel followed by a consonant, double the consonant and add ed. If a verb ends in a consonant followed by a y, change the y to I and add ed. An example would be stop or stopped, has stopped. Cry, cried, or had cried. When I talk about, we'll just do, if we have the word stop, you can see that it ends in a vowel followed by a consonant. Vowel, consonant. So we have VC. So it ends in a vowel consonant. So in order to add the ed to the end, you have to double that P. So you have to double the consonant. So stopped is S-T-O-P-P, and then you add the ed. Where we have the word cry, and it says if a word ends in a consonant, which is R here, followed by Y, then what you need to do is drop the Y and add I-E-D. So it's cried, C-R-I-E-D, cried. And that's what they're talking about there. In our activity, it says, write the past tense of each verb, then write a sentence using the verb in past tense. We have the word travel, and so the past tense of travel is traveled. T-R-A-V-E-L-E-D, traveled. And now you have to use the word traveled in a sentence. We traveled to California. And I do want you to make sure that you're paying attention when you're writing your sentences, that you have proper punctuation. You can see I have a capital W at the beginning of the sentence, and I have California capitalized because it's a proper noun, and I have a period at the end of my sentence. You can go ahead and pause the video here, and you can finish numbers 2 through 5 on your own. We have the words beg, use, carry, and injure. The next page, we're going to talk about irregular verbs, and some verbs are irregular verbs. These verbs do not add ed or d to form the past tense. Okay, so some common verbs that are irregular are the word be. You don't say, she beed my best friend back then. It was, she was my best friend back then. We have go. You don't say, I goed to the store yesterday. It's, I went to the store yesterday. Eat. You don't say, I eated a burger for lunch. It's, I ate a burger for lunch. So instead of adding ed or d to the end, it changes the word. And we have examples up here in the table that are common. Be, go, eat, become, have, do, buy, leave. That doesn't mean they're all the examples, but there are a good amount of them for you to go ahead and refer to up here. And our activity today, it says, write the verbs and tell whether they are regular or irregular. Sentence number 1 reads, Annie went to the library every weekend because she liked it there. And in this sentence, we have 2 verbs. We have went. Annie went to the library every weekend because she liked it there. And liked is our second verb. And so went is past tense for the word go. And so went is an irregular verb. So because it's an irregular verb, I'm just going to go ahead and write an I above it for irregular. The second one is the word liked, L-I-K-E-D. And the present tense verb here is the word like, L-I-K-E. And you can see that all we did was add a D to the end, so that is a regular verb. So above the word liked, we're going to put an R for regular. So you don't have to write it all out. Just underline those verbs for me, and above them put an I for verbs that are irregular, and put an R for verbs that are regular verbs. You can go ahead and complete 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your own. Once you've completed those, please take a picture of your work, attach it to your assignment, and upload it to Teams, then turn it in. Thank you.